Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of season 2. And I wanted to say thank you so much for letting me take a break, spend some time with my family, catch up on some fishing videos, do a little fishing myself, and now we're back here in 2020, ready to rock and roll for this year and this season. Last season was awesome. We had some pretty good growth, some awesome growth. Thank you guys so much for all the support, all the views, the shares, the reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Thank you so much for engaging. That means so much to me, and I really appreciate the ability to be able to sign on here and make these videos and engage directly with our community, with you, with other entrepreneurs, with other kayak fishermen, with other business owners and manufacturers. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And so I'm excited for this season. We have some great things. We are going from last season, we did every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what we're going to do this season and actually do every other Monday. That way I have time to actually release the video, let it do its thing and circulate. I can release a fishing video in between the next episode and then release the episode on the following Monday. So we're going to do every other Monday for this season, for season 2. And so, of course, we have a lot of giveaways. We have, man, I'm excited for next. I have to get through this episode, but I'm excited for next episode too. We're going to talk about Yak Tribe's free kayak rental program. It's going to be awesome to talk about and share with you guys. But for this episode, we're going to have Rex Del Rey. I know you guys, I was getting a lot of good feedback about having Rex on the show and all the insight that he has to offer when it comes to business and things like that. And yes, this is a kayak fishing show. We're going to get, Rex is a fisherman. We're going to get people on here just specifically talking about fishing and things like that. But I wanted to kick off this season, since we are starting off 2020 with a business owner, with an entrepreneur. You guys had questions for me to ask him, and I wanted to kick off this season and this year just with some motivation to talk about what he does, to talk about a side hustle, to talk about those types of things and how to start those side hustles and what to do and how to come up with ideas. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So stick with me. We're going to have an awesome show, and let's go ahead and give my man Rex a call.
Pete.
Rex, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, man. So we are live for episode 1 of season 2, 2020. And, bro, I want to thank you for taking the time, as always, for taking time out of your day, your busy day, your workload to be with us here, bro. I appreciate it.
Oh, we jumping right in.
Yeah, man, we jumping right in, bro. I had you on the show, once or twice? Did I have you twice or once last season? I definitely had you once, but...
yeah, you have me once, but we talk all the time.
That's true. And then I was on your podcast at Ride the Bull. Yeah. So it seems like more than...
My one and only podcast.
One and only Rex podcast, yeah. Hey, but it seems like we were just together. We were just together down in November 2019 at Kayak Rentals for the grand opening / Yak Tribe meetup at PAC. And I know you just released that meetup video, and you're slowly releasing a bunch of other epic trips that we had on that video. And I'm going to play some of that B-roll here on the screen in a minute. But it's good to be back on the phone, on the podcast with you, bro. I had a lot of people asking to, bro, you're the man. You're getting requested to be on the show. Yeah, man, I had a lot of people asking for you to be on the show because you offer a lot of insight when it comes to business, being an entrepreneur, hustling, grinding. And so I wanted to kick off 2020 with you to get everyone motivated and ready to roll for the year, man. I thought it was only fitting.
No, that sounds good, man. I'm gearing up myself, man. I think what people like is me and you'd always talk, and we talk like we always do.
Yeah, that's right. You ready to jump into this, bro?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So I've got a few questions from the people like Lewis and Chris and Travis and Mike, but I'm going to start off with my question because I think it's a good question to start the show off, and it's this. So when it comes to a side hustle, what are basic skills? I know this is something you love, so I want to pitch this to you. But when it comes to a side hustle, what are basic skills and things you need to get started? So a lot of people who watch our show, they have side hustles. They're not just kayak fishermen. And so I was a little afraid a little bit in the beginning to introduce like business questions and things like that, because this was supposed to be like a kayak fishing show, right? and I'll talk about fishing only, but it's kind of morphed into like a business entrepreneurial kayak fishing show.
Right.
And we're getting traction from people in that demographic. And so I want to talk about this to kick off the year. So, bro, you're the man. Let me in on some of your secrets. Let us in on some of your secrets, and lead the way, bro.
So I guess the question is, what are some skills to kind of build up your side hustle?
Yeah. What are some skills? What are some basic things that you need to know, some things that you need to do when you're at that starting point when you're like, you know what, like I could do this. I think I want to do this. Let me get after it. Or is that even the right place to start, really, when it comes to your thinking?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's such a loaded question because I think a good side hustle is something you kind of enjoy doing, and if you kind of step back, like it all comes down to like your value of your time, so I think it's been about 5 years when I've been, I would just say fully self-employed, self-employed through my business and self-employed through the contract work that I pick up to kind of supplement or sometimes even support the business, so it kind of wanes back and forth. But really, like, I think a side hustle should be something you're passionate about, and otherwise it'll just feel like a work. Like for me, I knew I didn't want to be behind a desk all the time. Like I did a lot of fun work, when I was working in the beauty industry. But at the end of the day, like a lot of the time I was just managing people and I was behind a computer, and then, beautiful days would pass by and I'm like, I'm stuck in the office. And at some point I felt like, if I'm marketing, a beauty company, which, personally as like, I guess as a man, like I don't have a personal connection to that industry, just personally, so I figured if I could market that, maybe I could, market other things that I'm really interested in. So, you kind of you start putting your time towards things you care about. So when it comes to a side hustle, you got to look at like what's the root of what you're trying to do. And I think for a lot of us, it's really about having control of your time again. Mm-hmm. So that's what it's about. Like, when me and you are at PAC, like, we can push our work around. Like, if it's a good day and the winds are laid down and the sun is out, like, it's sight fishing time,
Right.
So having side hustles, like, you have the luxury to kind of prioritize your day based on what you think is going to be most effective, really weather-wise.
Right.
Like, if the fishing's good, we'll just work tonight.
Yeah.
Knock out.
That's true. We've sat in that old garage shed office. I mean, many nights till like 1, 2 a.m. just like busting it out. Because I want to like rewind for a second though, bro, because for the people who might not know you or don't really know what you do, so from the outside, we're like Rex. He does Action Hat and he does Frsh, right? Those are your companies and those are your businesses. But can you kind of break down for the people what are your businesses and then what are the actual things you do for a side hustle? Because like I know what you do, but what are some of those gigs that you're talking about that's a side hustle for you?
All right, so I mean, it all falls within the same wheelhouse of the skills that I have. That I built from, my experience in marketing with the beauty industry and then, stuff I do for myself. So, all the stuff I do for myself, I also do for other companies, some behind the scenes stuff. So I do, website work like you do. So somebody's, I work with guides, I work with, other fishing brands and, I help make content for them. Or just pretty much any project that someone has that I'm able to do, and they like the way I market my company, or they like the content I produce. They're like, hey, produce some of that similar content, for me. So I'll go out and I'll shoot like, barbecue events. I'll go and shoot like other, kayak fishing or fishing events, tournaments, things like that. I do website work. I do graphic design. I make logos. People need, work done for their shirts. A lot of these, I cherry pick the side work, whether like that industry is of interest to me, or if it's a homie, or someone that I've worked with before. So I just get extra work in whenever I can to help support or supplement the business. Because Action Hat and Frsh, everything's like really cyclical, so it's all up and down. So the side work kind of lets me kind of balance out and fund new projects and things like that.
So your side hustle, right? You're not, so like some people's side hustle is like, during the day they're a financial consultant, and their side hustle is making knives on the side because that's their hobby and that's something they love to do.
Yep.
And so some of their boys have picked them up, and now their side hustle is kind of making knives and leather sheaths and stuff for people. But what you're doing, your approach to your side hustle is taking the skills that you're doing for your main jobs, and I'm saying jobs, your businesses, making your for your main, and then taking that and your side hustles now providing those services, but for other people and maybe even the same demographic. So you're not like having to invest in all these new things to develop a new side hustle. You're taking your skills and just offering those skills and services to other people, and that's your side hustle.
Yeah, pretty much helping them market their business, and then kind of coming up with some marketing content directly, or giving them suggestions, or consulting them on what stuff they can be putting out.
Gotcha.
Sometimes just kind of setting up the operations so then they can take off and run it themselves.
Okay.
So the last thing I want to do with a side hustle is like start another business and operate it from infancy.
Right,
So it's like
right.
I do a lot of the setup work. To kind of get them started.
Okay, so then like now that we've laid that foundation, do you have any, doesn't have to be a list of 10, but are there just some things over the years of you doing this, not just for yourself, but like now that you're providing these services for other people, you're able to see these other entrepreneurs on the daily start the same process you started years ago. And so my question is, for the, generally speaking, collectively, what are some basic skills that you're seeing from people that you even help? What are you seeing that's common, skills that are needed to produce this side hustle and to make it effective?
Okay, so I think this list will work for people with side hustles or starting your own business, anything like that. Anytime you're I guess transitioning a passion that you have into a business opportunity or a way to make money,
Right.
I think the biggest thing is being resourceful. You have to figure things out. Like, if your first inclination is to say like, "Hey Heath, how do I do this?" Right? Mm-hmm. And if you're lucky enough where Heath is going to give you that information right off the bat, and you've done no research on your own, then Heath's just a good guy, right? But I know when people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey man, I've been researching this and researching that. Like, I just need a little help on what your thoughts are on this," then people are more inclined to help you out with that. So I'm not saying like don't reach out to your network. I'm saying do your own legwork first. Like, do your own homework, right? So there's so much information available on literally everything through YouTube.
And you know who's good at that? Martin from Burley Pro. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I look at some of his posts and he's like, just built this entire CNC machine by looking up YouTube videos. And I'm like looking at this massive machine, like, what?
That's exactly the person I was thinking about when I said that, because he represents the extreme side of resourcefulness.
Right.
Like, the guy built a CNC machine off the internet.
Right.
Order the parts, put it all together.
And his post is like, here's how you save $60K. It's like, oh my god.
$60K, yeah, by being resourceful, resourceful like that. So being resourceful is so key. Like, whatever product you have, like, research how people are selling it, research how people are marketing it, research how people are presenting their product. It's like anything you've done. even if it's like a brand new innovative product, there's they call them case studies or benchmark brands and products that you could kind of you could look at how they operate and learn from that. So you don't necessarily have to get on the phone and ask me or Heath, like, how do you do this? Just look how we're doing it. So just being resourceful, being perceptive, just kind of seeing how other people do it, because there's other people that are selling products or building brands, and you can kind of see from the outside how they're doing it, and
that's like the cheapest way too, with spending zero money, zero investments. You can literally just like watch and use live case studies on people. Like today,
right.
Everyone's lives are either on a vlog, on an Instagram account, a Facebook account, a YouTube account, and you can literally just study their life and view their. Nowadays, everyone documents their journey, and these are people used to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just for case studies of reviewing to see where to spend the money and where to do this and how to build this and who to hire. And now all the entrepreneurs' lives are online.
Yeah, literally all the information, like formal information that people put out through blogs, and then just literal observational information is out there by watching how other people do it.
Good point.
So, like, I think a good approach to this would be to look at a case study, and one of our friends from Louisiana, Nick Dinger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's got his job, but then you've just seen, like, he's been making stuff, right? All this woodwork, like he built that really awesome countertop for the Kayak shop,
right?
And I've just been kind of watching him, like, kind of progress, and he's just been putting out good content. And the skill set behind that is, if you're going to say, like, a lot of people just jump the gun and say, I'm a videographer or I'm a woodworker, right?
Right.
What's cool about Nick is, like, he didn't go out there and say, I'm a woodworker. The guy just starts making stuff, right? He starts doing it. So if you're going to say you're a YouTuber, you're a videographer, you're a woodworker, you make knives, like, there's no need to go out and say that stuff. Like, you have to just go do it, mm-hmm. right? And then the work speaks for itself, and next thing you know, you're a woodworker.
It's funny, like,
right?
There's some people, like, there's those people on YouTube or whatever, and they call themselves something that they're not, and then the people viewing it are like, what a clown, right? But you kind of know who you are by what people say you are. Not that you can take that for what it is. I'm not saying if you're watching this and you're a middle schooler and kids are calling you a joker and a lame and a fool, not saying that you are. But for the most part, when it comes to when you're trying to invent yourself or put yourself out there, and you just start doing what Nick's doing. And the first few pieces he put out, I was like, I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't think they were the most special things. And then he started, like, I watched his progression over like 6 to 8 months, and I was like, look at his craftsmanship. And in my mind, Nick became a woodworker to me.
Yeah,
I'm like, look at this guy. And he didn't even have to say he was a woodworker. You know what I'm saying? Nope. He just put it out there.
No, because he's putting out his work,
Right.
And so watching him do that, and then, as he's building these things, he's acquiring more tools. Like, he's all in. And next thing you know, people are offering to buy his stuff.
Right.
So all of a sudden, his side hustle could overtake, what he does. But the biggest thing is like, he chose to use his free time to make things and do things that he enjoys. And to me, like, finding that thing that you enjoy doing and figuring out how to make money doing it is really the whole art of setting up a successful, like, authentic side hustle. Because at the end of the day, like, you learn a lot of things through the different work and different jobs you've had. And a lot of times, like, growing up, you're just taught to just focus on the thing that makes the most money. And then, as you grow older, think about the stuff that you like doing that nobody's paying you for,
Right.
And, I think back, just one quick kind of, like, look back is, like, whenever I was in college, right, I was making music, with my buddies. Like, we were rappers from, like, high school through college. but I also worked at Starbucks, and then through making the music, I was like had to make T-shirts, I had to make flyers, I had to make CD covers, so I had to learn Photoshop, and that was just a need, right? So I was just like, well, somebody's got to do it, and we got to do it. And I'm not paying anybody to do it, so I learned Photoshop, and I learned Adobe products, and I learned the process of how to set up artwork to make T-shirts. So I'm talking about this is, dude, I'm almost turning 40. So this is almost 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I was 15 or 16, trying to do that. But when I was working at Starbucks, I made business cards, and I would pass out my business cards like this is this is our music, this is our MySpace,
MySpace.
website, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did all that, and then all of a sudden people like my business cards, and they said, hey, can you make me business cards?
Right.
So then I made a business card that said, I make business cards, right? So
it's like Inception.
It's a progression, and the real thing that you're looking at is how you value your time. So instead of me going home and playing video games or watching movies or going out, I was making more money, because
right.
hey, if I could, Starbucks is I'm not making a killing at when I was working at Starbucks while I was in college, but I was making music. I had, I was in college, and then I had a part-time job, and then on my free time I was doing graphic design, to make more money, because at the end of the day, it's you need money to keep growing and to kind of explore new things. So it's about where you're putting your time and where you're putting your money. So I guess the skill set that we're talking about is just being a doer, and through being a doer and being action oriented, if you have this little idea in the back of your mind, why don't you go tinker with it? If you don't start the tinkering process, you'll never. It's just an idea.
You gotta flesh it out. Yeah.
You have to manifest it into the
right.
physical world, and it could just be a complete dud.
Yeah.
But
bro, I have so many of those.
Oh, I've heard plenty of your ideas,
bro. I have so many. Do you remember Straight Cash Bass? I did.
No, I've never seen that.
I had, because it was so bad. I did it for 2 months.
The tournament.
Yeah, the tournament. I've had I've had so many duds. Growing up, man. And I was talking about Shannon the other day. I'm from I moved to Sarasota. I started a website, a community site called Do SRQ. I even started a Christian dating site. Okay, Christian Mingle. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
I started a Christian dating site called thedivineencounter.com. I don't even know what that is, so don't look it up because I no longer own that domain. But dude, some of my sites or some of my ideas and endeavors have been such duds. But from talking to you here in the last few minutes, what I kind of gathered and took notes here was some of the basic skills you need to start a side hustle and to continue them and to keep them going is being resourceful, being perceptive, always observing, being a doer, and staying action-oriented.
Right. So the thing is, it all pulls you in to kind of focus in on developing your craft, developing your product, but all that stuff can be DIY nowadays, which is radically different than it was just 10 years ago.
Right. Right.
So that to me would be to kind of get you kind of excited about your passion and maybe doing something with it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The next thing is once you set up that side hustle, realize if you really want this sucker to grow, you have to learn marketing, right? Because if people don't know, it's such a saturated, I'm saying whatever idea you have, I'm not trying to shoot down innovation. I'm just saying it's very rare. Whatever idea you have is built off something else. That's just with how as much access as we have to knowledge, everything has been done. And my point in saying that is everything is super saturated, right? whether you want to be your side hustle is to be like a fishing, influencer or whatever, like you have to stand out. Like if you're selling a personal brand, if your product, you have to stand out, and you have to market yourself without being a spammer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hitting
Like, people
share
will
to every
support
single
you.
group that you're part of on Facebook, just random share with no like thought out comment or post, just like share to group and then like share. Like that's not marketing.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you have to kind of trickle in the ads, but you have to give people a reason to notice you or support you. And that's what it is. Is like there's a real fine line between spamming people, and letting them know what your product does or what your brand is about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, a lot of people will be really supportive of you when you first start out, and they'll like your page and they'll subscribe or whatever. But if all you're ever doing is just asking people to support you without giving them content or giving them something of value, then it's a one-way street.
Right.
You're just sitting there begging for attention when you should be like giving them a reason
Mm-hmm.
to look at you.
Right. Right.
Like,
actually, bro, that is a good like segue. So Lewis Anderson asked a question, and like you're kind of touching on this like right now. And Lewis Anderson asked, he wanted me to ask you, with so many people trying to get rich in the kayak fishing scene, what did you and do you do to set your side apart in order to accomplish the success that you have, or even to accomplish the goal in mind that you have?
Sure. So it's like it's always like everything is about marketing, and then marketing nowadays is about content and how you're presenting yourself and what you do and what your product does. So the biggest thing to me is like I'm conscious of the spamming. I don't want to just sit there and tell you guys every single day like action hats, right? Or fish fresh. Like I don't want to just sit there and just like hammer away and just post the same picture every single day. I just don't think that's effective, and I think it's counter to what you're actually trying to achieve. It puts people off instead of bring them in. So what I always do is I'm always trying to figure out like what's something fun, or what's something interesting that I can do, and I'm always trying to evaluate the content. And what's funny is like when I do a trip now for a video, right? And this is just kind of behind the scenes of like how I look at like making content, because content is king, and content is how you can get attention to your brand without having to spend all this money for other people to do it, right? So like when me and you do a trip, I'll do a full length video of the entire trip, right? So that's like a 15-minute video. And the truth is like, unless people know me, they're not going to commit to a 15-minute video of watching me fishing. They're like, why?
Yeah, it's a big investment.
It's a big time and investment, and I get that. But, me and you, we watch the full 15 minutes because we get to relive that awesome trip that me and you had together. You know? So those 15 minutes, like legit, like they're for me and you and the homies that I fish with, that we have that memory forever.
Right.
Right. But
in 30 years, we can sit back and like watch that video again and be like, how dope was that trip?
Yeah, dude. Like, and watch like, the kids, like how young they were. And what they were learning.
It's like we're just building archives for our own personal use.
It is. So that's what the long format video is for. But then people who've like kind of followed along since, like day one, they enjoy it because they've kind of seen, the transition from like working for someone else and doing this as like a weekend hobby to like being full time and living out in Louisiana for a month at a time, or traveling. And they are able to kind of follow along and see the entire process. But so I'll make a 15-minute video, and then I'll make 3-minute videos with just like kind of cool moments from that.
Right.
And then now it's like I've even cut it even shorter to just what I think are the money shots.
It's like more digestible content.
Yeah, so it's the eats. It's like people don't know me, right?
Right.
So why are they going to commit to like watching a 15-minute video?
Right.
And then even a 3-minute video is like, well, what it's even hard to get people to watch that. But if they just see this cool eat, they're like, oh man, that's an awesome eat. And then they see another one. So I'm just focusing on eats as my main content for like short format platforms like Instagram or TikTok. And then they're like, oh man, this guy gets so many eats.
You on TikTok, bro? What a lame. What are you, middle school? Dude. Are you a middle schooler?
Dude, see, I changed it. See, here's the thing. Let's talk about like adapting and being resourceful. I was like, I changed my TikTok from Rex Del Rey to Frsh.
Yeah.
So it's not about like Rex. It's about these cool eats.
Right.
So, like having a full TikTok with nothing but eats, I think is going to be like, it's going to be appealing to, the younger generation because that's the most exciting part. Like, let me just give them the most exciting part without having to know me.
Right.
And then the idea is they watch those eats, and then if they want more content, there's a 3-minute content available. And if they want more, then there's a 18-minute content. At the end of the day, it's like they get to kind of level up on how they want to engage with the brand or more stuff they see. Maybe the music appeals to them, the editing style appeals to them, just the fun nature of the videos, the positive vibe. So I'm conscious of the way, we put out stuff.
Right.
And the way I want people to engage with it. So you have to really learn marketing, and you have to adapt, and things always change. But it does become kind of cringy when you just see people just do these kind of basic ads, and it's basically they're just begging for people to support them, and I think that can only go so far.
Right. Right.
And if you want to grow beyond the people that just know you, you have to figure out ways to get people to engage with your brand, and the brand has to be true to yourself. So that's another thing, right? When you're doing your side hustle, it's like being aware of what does it mean to have this handcrafted cutting board from Nick Dinger,
Right.
What does it mean to buy this knife from someone who made it, or these custom lures, or whatever. It's like you have, if you're going to start a side hustle, just be aware of what is it you represent? There's a lot of people that just want to sell you stuff, but there's other people that want to send you their hard work and passion.
Right.
So that's what you're buying. You can buy a cutting board from Walmart for $5.
Yeah,
whatever.
there's only two types of demographics. It's funny, as a marketer and stuff myself, I kick myself when I get sucked in and invested in another. It's funny, you know what I'm saying? When you convert yourself, when you see an ad, you're like, yeah, I need that, right? It's I know the tricks behind it. But no, there's two things that when I make a purchase that's not from Amazon Prime or when I go to Walmart, I'm talking about an online purchase from a person or something. There's really only two qualifications that I have. And it's either when I convert, it's either because it was a community that had a vision that sold me something. I was like, man, let me support that vision. I support that community. We run Yak Tribe, but bro, I've purchased things from Yak Addicts and all the @Yak, whatever the new Yak Instagram is. If they're out there hustling and trying to bring the kayak community together, I buy a shirt. I just place an order. And for me, I have to take that and then say okay, so I converted because I purchased off of someone's hard work, love, and dedication to their craft, or because they were selling a vision and a brand community. And so for me, that's how I don't market Yak Tribe for this, just to get rich. Because, bro, we're not getting rich off Yak Tribe and Frsh. That's just the truth.
Yep.
But we're passionate and we love what we do. But at the same time, we also do need some sales to sustain the time that we put into building these things and building these communities that, yes, people are more inclined to purchase from me and you and from other people when they can see that this leader of the company has a vision, has a community aspect ingrained in it, or they can see your hard work, love, and passion. And that's why I think a lot of people follow you, because they can see your life played out. You show the ups, you show the downs, you show the fun fishing trips, you show stacked behind a computer with a log list of 50 videos needed to get done. You know what I'm saying? Like, they see the realness, and you're not out there just posting a video and then on Facebook where it says share to a group, you click that, and then all the forums you're subscribed to, you're not just hitting share. You let your work speak for itself, and you have taken the time to think and to be observant about what content is consumable, what content should I put here, what content should I put that here, and you become a real marketer. And so I think that's what's really attributed to a lot of your success, like what Chris is asking, or sorry, what Lewis is asking for right here. So yeah, you're doing a great job at all of that, bro. And like a shameless plug real quick, TikTok at Frsh and at HeathRP. Come find us.
No, but I mean, that's the same kudos to you, bro, because like, you know, we've supported each other's brands since day one, and me and you started, you know, since day one. Actually, me, you, and Rob Field. You know, like we're all started this whole thing together, and when we link up somewhere, we always talk about this kind of stuff, and you know, the business can take you, you know, in all directions, and people can kind of specialize in what they're good at and what they're natural at. So the biggest thing is to be authentic. Like me and you shoot completely differently. Me, you, and Rob could shoot completely differently.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But it's all a reflection of what you're comfortable doing. I was explaining, I remember talking to Shannon, because Shannon's such a big, you know, social media person also. It was like, I remember I was trying to do like one of those talking to the camera scenes, and I spent
the ones you love so much.
Rambling. Yeah, I spent an hour rambling in front of it, and I was like, man, none of this is like even like, why am I doing this? You know, so but I ended up using like 10 seconds of that hour's worth of rambling, trying to narrate what I'm going to do.
Right.
And I'll, you know, so my style of content is like really just wearing the action hat, and people kind of fill in the blanks of what's going on, and they're just like with me when I go fishing or when we're hanging out, and you catch a part of the conversation. Ninja filming is what Robert always says. I do ninja filming.
Yeah.
But you know, then I just edited this video with me and you, and you know, you like to talk to the camera, which is, you know, selfie style.
Complete opposite of you.
Complete opposite of me, but it works for you because that's what you're comfortable with, and that's from your generation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like before it's like you see other people's content and you're like, oh, that's not how I do it, and then you have like a different feeling of it, you know? And then like as the more you do this, you're like, oh man, you know, people just do stuff that they're comfortable with in their own way. But at the end of the day, it has to be true to you, and it has to be authentic. So that would be my answer to Lewis, is like, just be authentic to how you do it or what you're comfortable with. Like, we don't all have to be the same persona. Like, you can present it in whatever way you're comfortable with. Like, I hear Shannon say it all the time. Like, if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, write a blog.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, if you don't like showing your face, then don't show your face, and then you can just be the mystery person cooking stuff or fishing, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's the social media world, and we keep talking about social media, is because like all side hustles, at least passion-driven ones, right? Like, to me, it's like, I don't need to give you advice to have a side hustle of like doing like, I would just say, commodity work or you know, paying the bills work. I'm saying like a side hustle, a side hustle that stems from your passion. That's what we're about. So if you're doing a side hustle, like, let's just even talk about Yak Tribe in the big scheme of things. Like, Yak Tribe is a passion for you. Like, you like the community aspect of kayak fishing, and you want to promote that and encourage people to kind of link up with each other and go fish together and help put somebody new on the water, right? with Frsh, like my whole idea is like, man, there's so much, like people take fishing so seriously and there's so much drama with it a lot of times, and like the competitive tournament side of it, that I just want to show like how much fun fishing is, because I want my nephews to not be so concerned about winning bass tournaments, but I'd rather them just like, they want to go spend some time out on the water,
right?
Catch some fish and cook it up and go have a campfire. I want to show them this lifestyle.
Like when we were at Pack, right? Like when we were at Pack, and like you walk out of the RV and down the road, you can see Pat sitting on the tailgate of his truck, and Sophia just chilling, catching redfish on the dock. And it's like that. Look, there was no GoPros there. Pat wasn't narrating anything.
No,
she was just doing something she loved doing with her dad and uncle, and doing it there on the dock. And it's like, that's the memories I remember growing up with my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Just, we don't even really have too many pictures. Like, they're just ingrained in my mind, Yeah.
So it's like, however you see this passion, present it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I see, like, just to have this running, like, kind of example, when I see Nick, like, put together these different slats of different color wood, and he's got them all clamps, and they're all like, they're all like, getting set together. I think about like, oh man, the craftsmanship and like getting all those pieces of wood exactly the same size, and he's got to cut them and router them. Like, that's exciting stuff for me to see,
Yeah.
So, but that passion translates. So it's like when it's time for me to buy a high-end cutting board, like, I'd rather have it built by a homie.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, when I was looking for a new carry knife, I looked up my man Daniel. Like, I knew exactly who to call.
No, absolutely. So there is a charm in like supporting each other on that, but the person has to present himself as it seems weird to say you have to present yourself as authentic. Like, really, just be freaking authentic. Like, just talk like a real person,
Right.
And, one of the cringy things that I see all the time, and again, man, it's like, I don't want to, like, wax negative or kind of discourage people. I'm just saying this stuff just for pure awareness, right? So it's like a lot of people, like, they'll have, like, let's just say 300 followers, and follower count doesn't matter. I'm just saying the reason I bring up 300 followers is because these people are going around saying, hey fans, like, thanks to all my supporters and fans, and I'm like, man, so now I'm your fan, right? So now I'm your fan, and if you call me a fan, you put yourself at this other level. Like, to me, like, you're not being a real person, man. Like, if you're already acting,
you're not Tom Brady, bro.
If you're already acting Hollywood with 300, 300 followers, how are you gonna? You're gonna be a monster when you get 1,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not saying like don't be happy and don't celebrate, but just put it all into context. Like, be a real person.
Right.
Be someone else looking at you, which is a really hard skill for people to embrace, to look at themselves how other people see you. And in one sense, it doesn't matter how other people see you, but other times it's like, are you being kind of weird? Are you being like, like, are you giving people a reason to hate on you?
Right.
That's the other side of the coin. It's like, you can't just dismiss everybody as a hater.
Yeah.
But you have to have some kind of objective view of yourself to say, like, maybe I'm giving them a reason to hate on me.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Right. Man, true that. Very, very. I didn't know you went to school for preaching, bro. Out here preaching. Preach. Hey, man, I got 2 more questions for you that we gotta get through real quick. They're just little 30-second questions, but Travis Mizell wants to know, what program do you use for editing your videos?
So I use Adobe Premiere Pro. Other people use Final Cut. but I'm just familiar with Adobe products. But I mean, I have a blog post about the best ways to edit a video, and to me, it's not really about the program,
Right.
because like sometimes, like I know Adobe Premiere Pro, I'm familiar with it because I've grown up, using like Photoshop and the other Adobe programs.
Right.
So I'm familiar with the interface, but for you to go into like a professional video program is just sometimes is way overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if I'm answering his question, but I think his real question is like, how do you edit? Right?
Yep.
Because it's not the program that's going to edit it for you. It's you kind of knowing how to sequence stuff together.
Yeah.
So I do have a blog post on Live Live Now that kind of just explains some of those things. And a lot of it is just knowing how to use the clip tool or the trim tool.
When to cut, when not to cut. Yeah.
When to cut, what to bring in. And again, it goes back to what I say is like, watch how you respond to other people's videos. If you're making videos,
right.
Go watch somebody else's video and look at the stuff that you would fast forward through.
Right.
Because a lot of times when people hook up with a fish, they keep that whole like heavy breathing and like reeling in the fish, and next thing you know, 3 minutes have passed. This guy's fighting a fish. Man, you could have had that whole sequence. Like, what are the money shots in there?
Right.
And just give people like.
Right.
If it drags too long, like
mm-hmm.
the tool is like, don't let the scene or clip drag too long.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's to me, that's the real magic of having videos that people
mm-hmm.
can watch. And then the second part is like, what's the meat? What's the story, or what's the magic of that moment, and centralize it around that. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a long video or a short video, but centralize it around something. There's got to be some kind of story, even in a little tiny clip.
Yeah, and for me, go ahead.
Yeah, to answer his question, Adobe Premiere Pro is what I use, but any video editing program that's default on your Mac or your PC, just start off with that.
Mm-hmm.
But read my blog post and kind of where I talk more about like, how to do an edit, like, how to get familiar with that. And then you can kind of deviate from those basic rules once you kind of know like how you want to present your stuff.
Yeah, and for me, real quick before we go to the next question, and then we'll end the show. For me, a lot of my editing is happening as I'm filming. Like in my head, I'm already thinking like, okay, here's how to present it. Here's the shot I need. I need this shot. I need this little set of B-roll. And for me, you and I film a little differently. Like I already have the storyline in my head, and then if the actions of the day don't match my storyline, I alter my final thing. But I already have a vision and the shots and the story I want to tell about it before I do it. And so most of my editing is done while I'm shooting. And so for me personally, I used to have, when I first started, I'd have 20 gigs, 30 gigs of footage, and now like by the time I import it, I'm at like 5, 6, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I already know like this is what I wanted, this is what I didn't want it, and then of course I get extra B-roll to fill the gaps where I need it.
No, absolutely. So I do a similar thing too, where it's like I know like for every video I need some kind of intro shots to kind of get the video going. But then after I get those intro shots, I just focus my battery and my memory on capturing the action shots.
Right.
Because like for my brand, like I want to get like the killer action shots. Like I want to get the eats.
Mm-hmm.
And filming eats is incredibly hard unless you know how to do it and time it and focus on it,
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey, last one is from Mike Burt, and he wants to know, do we have a convertible release date?
See, so this is a good segue because like, he came up with that idea. He should be resourceful enough to like go figure out how to make it.
Yeah, he's like the guy, right? Like,
it's like
I should have brought him on the show.
Like, bro, that's your baby.
Yeah.
I got enough babies to take care of. Like, you want me to...
Mike, we're going to divert that question back to you, man. You heard the episode, and so get on it, bro. For those of you who don't know what the convertible is, I do want to say, as a disclaimer, those who watch the video, because I still get asked about that sometimes. I got to find the video somewhere. Nobody was on drugs. It was just so funny, and we were so tired, and it was so late when we chopped off this hat and made some sort of like yarmulke convertible bill visor hat thing, and we presented it to Rex for him to market, but he wanted no say,
Nope.
no hand in it whatsoever. But I had people saying like, "Look at these guys, are they drunk, high? What?" No, it was just so funny. It was just so funny.
Cabin fever, man.
Cabin fever. We got rained out.
Oh, we were just everybody's in town, so we're just having to sit there and look at each other on the couch for hours at a time.
Yeah. Hey, man, that was a great time. Well, look, bro, I wanted to thank you so much, as always, for being on the show. I want to have you on the show again this season because every time we talk, there's just so much gold in the show, so much back and forth, things that people can pick out from what you have to say. And I appreciate you. You know, you're out there in the middle of it, hustling, grinding. You know, we're learning new things every day, so it only seems fitting that we reconnect and we talk about these new things on the regular. And so, bro, I really appreciate you, your friendship, all that we do. And, man, I can't wait till April. We'll be back at Pack Kayak, brother.
Yes, sir, man. I really appreciate everything you're doing, man. So, you know, you've really built an awesome community, and I'm happy to be a part of it and a partner in it. And I'm always supporting anything you're doing.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, brother. Well, I will let you get back to the workload, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. Yes, sir. Well, guys, that was Rex Del Rey, and I want to thank him again off the camera, off the phone so much for being part of. He's a huge supporter. This is the Outsider shirt. I wear his swag all the time. Frsh, dope stuff. Good Fish is one of my new favorite shirts. And so go check him out. Check out Frsh. Check out Action Hat if you haven't already. Guys, this is the end of our show. And so we're going to do a giveaway for those who engage. Okay, we always do giveaways. Whoever's leaving comments, sharing our stuff, I pick people, DM them, and we give some stuff away to them. It's going to be Yak Tribe swag this time. Next episode, I'm really excited about. Would you please get ready to tune in 2 weeks from now? You got this Monday that just dropped, not the next Monday, but the Monday after that, we're going to drop our next episode, episode 2 of season 2, and I'm really excited to bring that content to you. So, guys, thank you so much. I wanted to remind you guys, this podcast, vlogcast, whatever you want to call it, this show, Yak Tribe Kayak Show, it's not about products, it's about people. That's what Yak Tribe has always been about, real people, real stories, real connections. That's who we are, and that's what we'll always be. So thank you so much for being involved, engaging with the show. I know it's a big investment, and I'll try to get these episodes shorter, but when you're on the phone with a guy like Rex, it's hard to keep it short because there's just so much good stuff he's laying out on the table. So I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you for investing in what we're doing here. So guys, I will catch you in 2 Mondays from now at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all have an awesome start to your 2020.